So I love Desmond Morris. I don't know why so few people actually talk about him. Probably because he is overshadowed by more prominent zoologists and evolutionary biologists like Richard Dawkins. And another thing about zoology is, I don't want to say that it is constantly, but there are new studies published every year. And so people tend to only read the newest stuff. But anyway, he's got this masterpiece of a book called The Human Zoo. And I don't want to talk about the whole book now, otherwise we would be sitting here for hours. I rather want to focus on something he said in the first chapter that is quite relevant in today's day and age. So the big question on everybody's mind nowadays is, why is religion declining, especially among young people? A lot of cultural commentators make the claim that religion has had an uptake in recent years, but more recently, studies have shown that it is stagnation at best. The YouTube channel Religion for Breakfast made a brilliant YouTube video on this if you want to go and check it out. So our institutions would let us believe that religion is declining because it is being replaced by logic and science. This is very in line with the new atheist movements of the early 2000s. The quote-unquote uptake in religion was then given the reason that science and logic can't replace meaning. There has been a lot of talk about the void of meaning in today's young people, and this, they say, is partly responsible for the uptake in religion. But the studies show that the trend among young Americans has merely stabilized for now, that there isn't any significant uptake. The miscommunication of a religious revival comes from studies that have statistical imperfections in their data. For example, they only ask the religious question to Gen Zs that were already married and have already settled down, instead of getting a more widely diversified group to get a more accurate answer. When it comes to religion, every field of study has its own answer for it, which is quite interesting. If you were to ask the philosopher, he would give you one answer. But if you were to ask the Christian apologist, he would give you another. But the answer Desmond Morris gave us was something I haven't heard of before. So Morris explains that humans evolved to live in small tribes, normally 50 to 150 people. These people were a tightly knitted community. Over time, the discovery of farming, this led to specialization in the tribes, and the tribes grew. He calls these superstructures. The problem with this is that people evolved over millions of years to live in small, tight-knit communities, as mentioned. But with the development of these new super tribes, it threw our biological hamster off its wheel. People weren't meant to live like this, or rather, they weren't adapted to live like it. We want personal relationships, and all other people outside of our tribe are a threat. They are non-human. But now, all of a sudden, we have to live with them and still search for our in-group, which is embedded in these superstructures, super tribes. So where does religion come in? Morris explains that religion originally worked as a tribal glue. It bonded small groups together. It reinforced shared identity, rituals, and moral rules. It made social order feel natural and emotionally meaningful. When humans lived in tight-knit tribes, religion felt personal and essential. But in super tribes, groups became too large for intimate bonding. Religious rituals turned impersonal and bureaucratic. The emotional payoff weakens. On a side note, this might also be a reason why we have seen such a uptake in fundamentalist and evangelical churches. People replace religion with politics, nationalism, and ideology. Religion was used as a tribal identifier. Who was and who wasn't in your group? But religion has split into so many sects and denominations that it has dulled, and it has dulled the original purpose of being tribal glue. So religion doesn't vanish because humans stop needing it or stop believing in it. It declines because it no longer fits the scale of modern society. Morris's punchline is pretty sharp. Humans don't lose the religious instinct. They redirect it. So where did we redirect it? We try and replace it with tribal glue that can be a bit more encompassing or more fitting for super tribes. We move towards political ideologies like capitalism, communism, and patriotism. We are searching all the time for our tribe that is lost in the super tribe, and we use the tribal glues to identify them and keep them together, because after all, it is in our nature. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. See you next time.